I've recently returned from a 4-night stay at Forest Holidays in Hampshire, and in this video you'll see a tour of the accommodation, hear about how we spent our time, what and where we ate, and what the prices were like on site. Forest Holidays Hampshire site is based between Basingstoke and Winchester, within easy reach of the M3. Unfortunately, the proximity to both the M3 and the A303 is also one of the downsides of this site. When we visited in early April, the trees were still bare and you could hear distant traffic noise all the time. Now, this seemed to bother me more than anyone else in our party, and whether it bothers you or not will very much depend on what you're used to. We stayed in the Golden Oak Treehouse, which has 4 bedrooms in the main building and a self-contained pod with a 5th bedroom and ensuite. The first bedroom on the ground floor is a twin with a nice view of the woods and lots of open storage space. Next door to that is an ensuite double. White towels are provided for the bathrooms. If you want the grey towels and toweling robes, they're for the hot tub and you have to pay extra for them, or you can bring your own. For some reason, we managed to get them included in our cabin without paying extra. The ensuite to this bedroom has a sink, shower cubicle and toilet and a heated towel rail, and there's a decent supply of toilet rolls in every bathroom, which should be more than enough for your stay. Next to this double room at the base of the stairs is a bathroom with a full bath. We were also supplied with soap and shower gel in every bathroom. Heading upstairs to the 2 remaining bedrooms and bathroom, you pass by the owl at the top of the stairs. The first upstairs bedroom is a very bright and light double with a good view out into the woods. However, that main window doesn't open at all, and the other window in the room only opens up a crack, so it's not possible to get a through draft at night. We visited in April, but it was already very warm. We had days of 20 degrees and it stayed warm upstairs at night. I'm not sure if they supply fans in the summer, but if they don't, I'd be very tempted to bring my own. Next to that double room is a bathroom with another shower cubicle, sink and loo. The showers had very good pressure, although we did manage to use up the hot water on one day. I will actually show you the heating system which provides the hot water and the heating in a moment. The final bedroom in the main house is another twin. This room was a little bit dark. It doesn't look so in the video, but it was. But that actually makes it perfect for young children. And it's the furthest point from the kitchen and the hot tub, so really good for anyone who needs to be put to bed early. Then downstairs to the ground floor and outside, past the hot tub, you follow the deck as it heads towards the detached self-contained pod, which is perfect for grandparents holidaying with families. There's a double bedroom with a really nice cabin-y feel to it. It has its own private balcony with table and chairs. There is absolutely loads of storage in this room. This first cupboard has lots of hanging space and again some toweling roads for the hot tub. And next to that is one with a dressing table, mirror and kettle and more storage above it. And then the third wardrobe has shelving in it. Turning back towards the way you came in, there's a bathroom on the right-hand side with a sink and loo and a really big walk-in shower cubicle. Back to the main cabin and a quick tour of the kitchen facilities. I was worried because I read in the details that there was an under-counter fridge. This is true, but there is in fact 2 under-counter fridges, so loads of space for keeping stuff chilled. This kitchen was actually one of the best equipped self-catering kitchens I've stayed in. There really wasn't anything except perhaps a sharp knife, which we did bring with us, that we were lacking. As well as a microwave, there's an espresso coffee machine, kettle, induction hob and built-in Biko oven. There's a full drawer of cutlery, then loads of utensils, including a potato masher and soup ladle, and another drawer with barbecue tools in it. And at the bottom, an oven tray and a variety of chopping boards. There's a full-size dishwasher and you get a few tablets included as part of your stay. Under the sink is a dustpan and brush, and just be warned, that sink is right at the far end, which means it's a little bit annoying when you're trying to wash up there right next to the wall. This is the cleaning stuff you get included: a compostable bin bag, sponge, cloth, small bottle of washing up liquid, and a box of dishwasher tablets. I can't remember how many there were, but definitely enough for one each day. There's also a tea towel, heat-proof glove, trivet, and another glass chopping board. The wall cupboards were also full of literally everything you could possibly need: a teapot, sugar bowl, milk jug, egg cups, 2 cafetières, water jug and a measuring jug. There were 2 toasters, placemats and coasters, and then a large cupboard full of every type of glass you might possibly need, including plastic glasses and mugs. Then there was a cupboard with plates and bowls in every single size. As you would expect from a cabin that sleeps 10, there's also a table that comfortably seats 10. And some good, comfortable, wipe-clean chairs. Wi-Fi in the cabin was good, and so was the mobile signal. Our only complaint really was that the glazing in one of the main windows was blown, which meant we spent 4 days looking out through this at the forest. I mentioned before, but the cabin is nice and warm, and this is how they heat it, with a wood pellet burner. This one heated both ours and the cabin next door. You don't need to worry about it though, it's topped up by the site staff regularly. On our first night, we headed down to the main cabin where there's a bar and reception desk to find out what activities were on offer during the week. We also stopped off for quite an expensive drink. It was £16 for a gin and tonic and 1 beer. Then we went back to the cabin for a hot tub, testing out all the bubbles and amazing array of coloured lights in the hot tub. The hot tubs are serviced daily, so you will see somebody coming up discreetly on the deck and checking on them, and the water is changed once a week. We stayed in the hot tub chatting far too long and far too late, and then went to bed and tried to sleep with our bodies still steaming in an already pretty warm bedroom. Not a great idea. Next day, the sun was shining and it was all peaceful apart from the distant roar of traffic. We went down to the main cabin again and had a good look at what the shop stocks. The basics like milk and juice are sold, but I didn't see any ham or butter or anything that you could use to make sandwiches with. There's also a huge freezer of frozen gourmet ready meals with all the family favourites like fish pie, cottage pie and lasagna. They were about £5.70 for a single portion or £11 for 2. You can also rely on the shop for any medical supplies that you might have forgotten to bring with you and toiletries. And it sells hand warmers and mosquito repellent, neither of which, fortunately, we needed. If you're barbecuing, which we did, there are burger buns and hot dogs, and also cakes, crisps and cuddly toys. And they have fresh cakes which you can buy by the slice to eat in the cafe or take away. As you might have spotted, we had 2 dogs in our party, which were also well catered for in the shop with a range of luxury dog foods, poo bags, treats, wash, bandanas and toys. And for those of you with a sweet tooth, there was a pretty epic range of sweets, biscuits and, kitchen roll. You can also buy wood, kindling and fire starters, as well as tubes of marshmallow for toasting. The wood cost $9.99 at the Forest Holidays shop versus $5.99 if you want to venture out to the local Budgeons in North Waltham, which is about a 10-minute drive away. You do get kindling supplied in the cabin, and we also brought our own firelighters. Next, we picked up the bikes we'd hired. We bought 2 with us on a bike rack on our car and hired another 2 for the week. We had 4 kids in the group, aged between 9 and 13, and the bikes were used every single day, multiple times a day, so definitely worth considering hiring them. Back at the cabin, the kids did some craft projects. We brought using oven-baked clay to make miniature food, which we cooked in the oven whilst eating some real watermelon. And then there was time for another dip in the hot tub. After that, we started dinner preparations. Now, I know it's always really tricky to know what to bring to cater for big groups of people on a holiday like this. So on the first night, we had pasta with a homemade sauce, which our friends had pre-cooked and brought with them. And on the second night, I made pizzas with a homemade dough. I brought the rolling pin and a large baking tray with me, but I actually forgot my pizza stone, which would have made it absolutely perfect. Everyone got involved with preparing the toppings and customising their own pizzas, including making hot dog stuffed crust pizza. Apparently, it was a much better idea in my son's head than in real life. But the pizzas turned out really well, and we also had a good salad with them too. Day 3 started with a run round the woods with the dogs. There's a great flat 5-kilometre loop which we did, ending up back at the main cabin where we met the other half of our group who were already doing a woodland survival skills workshop with the ranger. This session cost £10 a head and lasted for an hour and a half. The kids learned how to light a fire using flint, and fires were done in frying pans to prevent the risk of the fire spreading in the already quite dry woodland area we were in. We then toasted marshmallows and tried Nestled tea, which actually was much nicer than it looks in this cup. Back at the cabin, there was more hot tub time in the sunshine. Now, out of interest, you can pay extra to pick your cabin before you check in. We didn't. We had a cabin which had the sun in the morning on the deck. Next time, I think we would choose it the other way round, so we had the sun in the evening. My 13-year-old son volunteered to prepare lunch for 7 people and made flatbreads to his own recipe and then laid it all out on this rather impressive looking grazing board. There were several games of Dutch Blitz in the afternoon, and then we headed down to Forest Holidays HQ again for the quiz night. You can book a table and pre-order food, which is the usual selection of pub grubs, so pizzas, burgers, garlic bread and a veggie curry. As a price guide, it was between £13 and £16 for a burger, depending on toppings. We actually won the quiz by 1 point, mostly because our friend's 13-year-old daughter knew the answers to all of the questions in the riddle round. Back at the cabin, we decided to light the wood burner, even though it was pretty warm, because what's the point of being in a forest cabin without campfire TV? And we finished the night in the hot tub again. Day 4 started at the rifle range with a great duo who patiently taught the kids everything they needed to be safe and shoot accurately. The kids really enjoyed themselves and it was lovely to be out in the fresh air. I managed to persuade one of the children to let me use their bike, and so in the afternoon I had a little cycle round the loop. And then it was back to the cabin for our last night. All the cabins have gas barbecues, and although ours wasn't new, it was remarkably clean. If you're planning a forest holiday, I hope this has been helpful, and if you've got any questions, please drop them in the comments. This channel is new, so all subscribers, much appreciated. Thanks for watching.